My name is Monica Sanders, and on October 15, 2023, my life took a turn I never could have imagined. That was the day I had a near-death experience where I encountered Jesus himself. He revealed truths that I can no longer keep to myself, truths that carry an urgent message for all of us. Time is running short, and I feel a deep responsibility to share this testimony so that others can be prepared. I'm 42 years old and live a busy life in the heart of bustling New York City. I'm a single mother to 3 incredible children and work as a marketing strategist. That particular morning, I was already behind schedule. As a single mother, it felt like there was always a mountain of tasks waiting for me. I rushed through my morning routine, getting the kids ready for school, packing lunches, answering emails while trying to make breakfast. Everything seemed to blur into one big rush. The clock ticked faster than I could keep up, but there was no time to waste. By the time I left for work that evening, I felt a sense of relief. The day had been long, and I couldn't wait to be home. I thought to myself that maybe, just maybe, things might slow down once I got home. But then it happened. Out of nowhere, a set of headlights suddenly veered into my lane. I didn't even have time to process what was happening. The next thing I knew, there was a deafening crash, a sound of metal crunching against metal that would forever haunt me. And then, everything went silent. It wasn't a typical silence. It wasn't the kind of silence that feels empty or eerie. It was a peaceful kind of quiet, like the stillness of a forest after a storm. When I opened my eyes, or at least it felt like I opened them, I wasn't in my car anymore. I wasn't even sure I was still in my body. I was surrounded by a brilliant light, one that filled every corner of my being. It wasn't blinding, but it was warm, inviting, and radiated a sense of love so powerful it brought tears to my eyes. There was no pain, no fear, just an overwhelming sense of peace, as if everything was exactly as it should be. I couldn't explain it. It felt like I had been there before, yet I had no memory of ever being in such a place. There was something deeply familiar about it, a sense of home that I couldn't quite grasp. But what I did know with every fiber of my being was that I was no longer in the physical world. As I tried to make sense of where I was, I noticed a figure in the distance. At first, I couldn't make out who or what it was, but as it drew closer, my heart began to race with an inexplicable recognition. There was something about the figure that felt like home, a deep, profound knowing that transcended everything I had experienced on earth. It was him. It was Jesus. I can't explain how I knew it was him. It wasn't like any encounter I'd read about in books or seen in paintings. This wasn't the pale, suffering figure often portrayed in religious images. No, this was something more. He radiated light, love, and a presence so pure, so powerful, that it filled me completely. There were no words to describe how deeply I recognized him. It felt like my soul had known him forever. His eyes met mine, and in that instant, I felt understood in a way I had never felt before. He didn't need to say anything to me, his gaze was enough. But when he spoke, his voice was gentle, yet powerful, filled with a warmth and understanding that made me feel safe and loved in a way I couldn't even fathom. "Welcome," he said. "You have many questions, and I am here to guide you." I stood there, overwhelmed. I didn't know what to ask or how to respond, but I felt something stir within me, something I hadn't realized I had been longing for, a deep connection to truth, to love, and to understanding. He smiled at me gently, almost as if he was waiting for me to say something. Then he asked, "Why do you look so young?" The question caught me off guard. I had always been told that I looked younger than my age, but I had never really thought much about it. To be honest, I dismissed those comments as flattery or good genes. But standing in his presence, I suddenly realized that his question held a deeper meaning, one I had never considered before. "Why do you look so young?" He repeated. Jesus gestured for me to walk with him. As we moved, the light around us seemed to shift and change, forming images that felt both familiar and foreign. I realized that these were scenes from my life, moments I had lived but had long since forgotten, now playing out before me like a movie. "You have lived many lifetimes," he explained. "Your soul carries the wisdom of these experiences. And this wisdom, this inner peace, manifests in the way you live your life now, as well as in the way you appear." I watched in awe as scenes from my past unfolded before me. I saw myself in roles I had never imagined before, like a teacher in an ancient temple, guiding others in their spiritual journeys, or as a healer in a small village, using herbs and compassion to tend to the sick. There was even a moment where I saw myself standing as a leader, strong and resolute in the face of adversity. "These lives," Jesus said, "have taught you balance. And it is this balance that shields you from the negativity and stress that often cause others to age. You have learned to rise above those challenges, to maintain your spirit in harmony with the universe. This balance is reflected not just in your soul, but in your appearance as well." The images dissolved, but the message remained. I had always thought of myself as just a regular person, but now, standing in the light of Jesus' presence, I realized that I was so much more. I had carried the wisdom of countless lifetimes, and it was this wisdom, this peace, that had allowed me to remain youthful, both in spirit and in appearance. Jesus continued to walk beside me, his presence calming, almost like a steady current guiding me through an unknown world. The light that surrounded us was not harsh or bright in the conventional sense, but instead, it had a soft, ethereal quality, like the glow of 1,000 stars wrapped in a silken blanket. As I walked with him, I felt an overwhelming sense of peace, as though every burden I had carried throughout my life had been lifted from my shoulders. It was as if I had stepped into a place where time no longer existed, where the past, present, and future melted away. "You wonder, don't you?" He spoke gently, as though reading my thoughts. "What happens to us when we leave the physical world behind?" I nodded, my heart swelling with both curiosity and a sense of readiness. There had always been questions that plagued my mind, questions about death, the afterlife, the purpose of our lives. Now, standing in his presence, I felt as though those questions no longer mattered, that the answers were within my grasp. "Yes," I replied, my voice soft. "I've always wondered what happens when we die. Where do we go? What is the truth behind this existence?" He smiled knowingly, and his eyes shimmered with a deep, timeless understanding. "There are many realms, Monica. Each soul, depending on the journey they've taken, finds themselves in different spaces. Some are closer to the physical world, some more distant. All are connected by love, the force that transcends all things." As he spoke, the surroundings around us began to shift, and I found myself standing before a vast expanse. It was as though we were no longer walking, but floating, drifting through space. The landscape around us was breathtaking, with colors I had never seen before, vibrant and alive. It was as though every hue, every shade of light had been woven together in harmony. We passed through fields of sparkling energy, vast bodies of light, and swirling galaxies that seemed to pulse with life. "This is the realm of the righteous," Jesus explained, gesturing to the vast expanse ahead. "This is where those who have lived in alignment with love, compassion, and truth find their home. They are at peace, living in a state of blissful awareness, constantly growing and expanding their understanding of the divine." Then we moved deeper into this realm. I saw souls, people I didn't recognize, yet felt I had known in some deep spiritual way, engaged in activities of learning and growth. Some were meditating in deep peace, others were in vibrant discussion, exchanging knowledge and wisdom, and still others were in a state of joyous expression, dancing and celebrating life in its purest form. "This is what true peace looks like," Jesus said. "The souls here have transcended the physical limitations of the earth. They have learned to see beyond the surface, to embrace the infinite potential within themselves. Here, they live not as separate beings, but as part of a unified whole." I watched as souls interacted with one another, their energy flowing in harmonious waves. I could feel the love and the peace emanating from them, a love so deep and profound that it enveloped me entirely. For the first time in my life, I truly understood what it meant to be connected to others on a soul level. There was no judgment here, no fear, only an unconditional love that transcends all boundaries. I felt a profound sense of gratitude in my heart as I realized that, despite all the challenges I had faced in my physical life, I too was capable of this kind of peace. The experiences that had once seemed like burdens, heartaches, loss, confusion, were all part of my soul's journey toward this very moment. And in that moment, I knew that I too could attain this peace, this harmony, in my own time. As Jesus and I walked through the glowing light, I couldn't help but feel the radiant peace that surrounded us. Everything in this place seemed perfect, untouched by the chaos and burdens of life on earth. As we walked, I noticed my body felt lighter, as if I were no longer weighed down by anything physical. It was a strange but comforting feeling. Jesus turned to me and smiled softly, as if he had been waiting for this moment. "Do you know why you appear younger than your years?" he asked. I blinked, startled by the question. I had always been told I looked younger than my actual age. Some people even called it a blessing or said I had good genes. I had never given it much thought beyond the casual comments I received. But here, in this divine presence, the question felt deeper. There was a weight to it that resonated within me. I don't know," I replied, my voice trembling with curiosity. Jesus nodded knowingly, as if he had anticipated my response. "It's not just your physical body that determines your age," he said. "It's your spirit, your soul, and how it aligns with the eternal truth of the universe. When your spirit is aligned with love, wisdom, and peace, it radiates outward, manifesting in your physical form." He gestured around us, to the bright golden light that enveloped us both, as if showing me the very energy that fueled this existence. "Your soul has lived many lifetimes, and each one has contributed to the person you are today. Every lesson learned, every moment of compassion, forgiveness, and love you've shared, these experiences protect your spirit. They shield it from the negativity and stress that ages others." I felt a warmth spread through my chest as I took in his words. I thought back to the challenges I had faced in my life, the times I felt defeated or overwhelmed. But I also remembered the moments of peace, of deep connection with others, and the love I had given and received. These, Jesus was telling me, were the things that had kept my soul young. "When you allow yourself to be at peace," he continued, "and when you embrace love, compassion, and forgiveness, you tap into the universal energy that nourishes you. This energy prevents the wear and tear that time can have on the body." I could feel a shift within me, a sense of clarity that I had never known before. I thought of the times I had been present for others, listened deeply to their pain, and shared my heart in ways I hadn't even realized were healing not only for them but for myself as well. Those moments, I now understood, were more than just acts of kindness. They were spiritual practices that kept my soul and my body refreshed. "Your connection to divine energy," Jesus said, "keeps your spirit vital and full of light. And this light is reflected in your outward appearance. The more you live in alignment with these higher truths, the more you preserve the essence of your youth." As he spoke, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. It wasn't just about looking younger, it was about feeling younger, both inside and out. The energy that surrounded me was not just a divine force, it was a reflection of everything I had come to understand during my life. Every act of kindness, every spiritual lesson, every moment of inner peace had contributed to this energy. I looked into his eyes, now understanding the truth of his words. "It's not about genes," I whispered. "It's about how I live my life, how I choose to connect with others and the world around me." Jesus smiled, and the warmth I felt from him seemed to radiate even more brightly. "Exactly," he said. "Your life, your choices, your connection to the divine, it all matters. This is why you appear younger than your years. You've tapped into something eternal, and that energy sustains you." As we moved forward, the landscape shifted again, and the warm, comforting glow began to fade. The light became dimmer, and I felt a subtle tension in the air. We entered a realm that felt different, colder, darker, yet not devoid of hope. Here I saw souls that appeared lost, confused, and filled with a sense of longing. "This," Jesus said, "is the realm of the lost souls. These are souls who have not yet found their way. Some have been consumed by fear, anger, or regret. Others are trapped in old patterns, unable to move forward in their spiritual growth." I could feel the sadness in this realm, a heaviness that weighed on my chest. The souls here were not suffering in the traditional sense, but they seemed adrift, as if they were searching for something they couldn't quite grasp. Some hovered aimlessly, others seemed to be locked in an internal struggle, unable to break free from their past. But despite the darkness of this realm, I felt a profound sense of compassion and understanding. These souls were not being punished. They were simply lost, and like any lost traveler, they would eventually find their way. "There is always a path home," Jesus said. "Even the lost souls are loved and guided by divine forces. But they must choose to open their hearts and release the attachments that bind them. It is a process of healing, of letting go." I watched as some of the lost souls reached out to one another, offering comfort and support. It was a slow, painful process, but it was clear that healing was possible. Some souls were beginning to awaken, their eyes opening to the possibility of growth and change. Others remained in the shadows, unable to break free from their internal chains. "Do they ever find their way?" I asked, my voice trembling with the weight of what I had witnessed. "They all do," Jesus replied. "In time, they will all find their way back to the light. But it requires a willingness to face their fears and embrace the love that is always available to them." The warmth of his words comforted me, and I felt a deep sense of compassion for the lost souls. I understood now that they too were part of the divine plan, and that their journey was not one of punishment, but of growth. As we continued through the realms, Jesus led me to a space unlike any I had seen before. It was a place of pure light, more radiant than anything I had ever experienced. Here I felt a deep sense of peace and wholeness, a stillness that permeated my being. "This is the healing realm," Jesus said. "Here, souls come to rest and heal from the pain of their earthly experiences. It is a place where the heart can be mended, where the soul can find peace and renewal." I could see souls in this realm, lying peacefully, surrounded by warm, comforting light. Some were resting, others were being embraced by gentle, loving energy, and some were engaged in deep, introspective work. There was no rush here, only the gentle rhythm of healing. I walked with Jesus through this realm, and as I did, I felt my own heart beginning to heal. The wounds I had carried with me, grief, regret, and guilt, began to dissolve in the presence of this pure, healing energy. It was as though every painful experience I had endured in my life was being gently washed away, replaced by a deep sense of love and acceptance. "You too are healing, Monica," Jesus whispered. "Every challenge you've faced, every sorrow you've carried, is part of your soul's journey. You are learning to release the past and embrace the fullness of who you are." As his words washed over me, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. I realized that all the pain, the struggles, the losses I had experienced were not for nothing. They had shaped me, yes, but they had also taught me profound lessons. They had led me to this moment, to this understanding. The deeper I ventured into this remarkable journey, the more I understood how intricately connected every soul truly was. The vastness of the realms, the souls, and their experiences was both humbling and awe-inspiring. Yet there was an undeniable thread that wove it all together, a thread of love, compassion, and divine energy that linked all beings, no matter their state of awakening or growth. As we walked through the healing realm, I noticed something beautiful. Some souls would occasionally drift toward others, offering a gentle hand or words of encouragement, even if they themselves were in need of healing. It was as if each soul understood, on a fundamental level, that by helping others, they too would find healing. "This is the nature of all souls," Jesus explained. "We are all interconnected. Every action, every thought, every prayer, ripples through the fabric of the universe. Every soul, no matter where they are in their journey, has the power to uplift and support others." I took a deep breath, trying to fully grasp the depth of his words. The realization was profound. The world I had known, the struggles I had faced in my physical life, were part of a much larger, more beautiful tapestry of interconnectedness. Every challenge, every joy, every tear had its place in this grand design. The energy around me pulsed with the awareness of this connection. I could feel it, not just in the physical sense, but on a much deeper level. It was as though I could see the threads that bound each soul to one another. I understood that no one was ever truly alone, even in moments of isolation or despair. There was always a divine presence, always a guiding hand, even if it wasn't always visible in the earthly realm. Jesus turned to me, a smile of understanding gracing his lips. "This is the truth of your existence. You are never separate from those you love or those you encounter. You are always connected, in ways both seen and unseen." I felt a wave of gratitude wash over me, as if the weight of all my earthly struggles had been lightened, just by knowing this simple truth. The love I had felt in my physical life, the love for my children, my family, my friends, was not just confined to the material world. It extended beyond, into the afterlife, creating an eternal bond that would never fade. Jesus then led me into a realm that felt distinctly different from the others. It was not as vast or open as the other realms I had visited, but rather a sacred space filled with high, arched ceilings and shimmering walls. The atmosphere was reverent, like stepping into a place of great wisdom and understanding. This is the Council of Elders, Jesus explained. Here, souls come to gain deeper wisdom, to reflect on their journeys, and to gain insight into their next steps. These souls have reached a level of mastery, having lived many lifetimes and accumulated profound wisdom. They serve as guides for those still finding their way. In the center of this sacred space sat a group of luminous beings, their energy radiant yet serene. There was no doubt that they were far beyond the realm of human understanding, their very presence exuding wisdom and love. They looked at me with eyes filled with compassion and understanding, as though they could see into the deepest parts of my soul. And in their gaze, I felt both accepted and understood. I instinctively knelt before them, though I knew there was no need for formalities here. The sense of humility within me was natural. These beings carried with them an ancient, timeless knowledge that I could scarcely begin to comprehend. One of the elders spoke. "You have walked many roads, Monica. You have seen both the light and the darkness. You have asked the hard questions and faced the challenges that come with spiritual growth. Your heart is open, and your soul is ready." I felt a deep sense of recognition in his words. It was as if they knew every part of me, the struggles I had faced, the moments of doubt, the yearning for answers. I felt seen, not as a mere mortal, but as a soul on a sacred journey. "Why have I been shown all of this?" I asked, my voice trembling with awe. "What am I meant to learn from these realms, these souls, this journey?" The elder's eyes glowed with warmth, and he answered with great tenderness. "You are here to remember, Monica. To remember the truth of your existence. You are not separate from the divine. You are not lost. You are simply in the process of remembering who you truly are. All souls are on this journey, learning, growing, evolving. You have much to share with those still in the earthly realm, for your story will help awaken the hearts of many." I felt a profound sense of purpose in his words. It was as if my own struggles, my own story, had meaning far beyond anything I could have imagined. My life, my choices, my pain, my growth, was all part of a much grander purpose, one that stretched far beyond my physical existence. Then I began to sense that my journey was nearing its end. The lessons, the revelations, and the insights were becoming clearer, more integrated into my being. I had seen so much, so many different aspects of the afterlife, of soul evolution, of the divine love that held it all together. And yet, there was one final realm that Jesus had yet to show me. A place that felt like the culmination of everything I had learned. It was a realm that held both a sense of familiarity and mystery, as if it were a place I had always known but had yet to fully understand. "This," Jesus said, "is the realm of eternal peace. It is the final home for those who have completed their journey, those who have reached full realization of their divine nature. It is a place of perfect harmony, where the soul rests in its true essence." As we entered this final realm, I felt a deep peace, a stillness that filled every part of me. The energy here was not just calming but all-encompassing, like floating in a vast ocean of love and light. There was no sense of time here, no rush, no need for anything. It was a place of pure being. I saw souls here, radiating a light so pure it was impossible to look directly at them. They moved with such grace and ease, their every step in perfect alignment with the divine. There was no fear, no pain, only an overwhelming sense of love and unity with all things. I understood in that moment that this was what awaited every soul at the end of their journey, this perfect peace, this profound connection to the divine. There was no finality in death, only transformation. Death was not an end, but a continuation of the soul's eternal journey. I felt my own soul expand, my understanding deepening beyond words. It was as if I too was being embraced by this peace, this love, this ultimate realization of oneness. Jesus turned to me and said, "You are ready, Monica. You have seen the truth of your journey. You have understood the lessons of love, healing, and interconnectedness. And now, you are prepared to return." The realm of eternal peace began to slowly fade as the reality of my earthly existence began to pull at me once again. A subtle tug, almost imperceptible, yet powerful enough to beckon me back. I could sense the boundary between the afterlife and the physical world once again, like the pull of gravity that calls you home. It was bittersweet. This place of boundless peace felt like the home of my soul, but I knew it wasn't yet my time to remain. I still had work to do, lessons to share, lives to touch. Jesus, sensing my mixed emotions, placed his hand gently on my shoulder. His touch was a comfort, a reminder of the love that transcended all realms. "You will carry this peace with you, Monica," he said. "When you return, the light of what you have seen here will guide you. You are a beacon now, a light for others to see, for you have witnessed the truth of the divine love that unites us all." I nodded, understanding that while my soul had touched the highest realms, my earthly journey was far from over. I had a message to deliver, a story to tell, one of love, healing, and spiritual awakening. It was time for me to go back, to share everything I had learned, to remember who I was, and to live with the awareness of the eternal truth I had encountered. The realm of eternal peace dissolved into the distance. The sensation of weightlessness enveloped me again, as if I was being drawn back to my body. There was no sudden shock, no pain, just the gradual return of awareness to my earthly form. It felt like slipping into a familiar dream, one that you know well but can never fully describe when you wake up. The transition back into my body was jarring, like waking from a deep, unshakable sleep. My senses rushed in, sights, sounds, and sensations all flooding in at once. My heart pounded, and I gasped for air, struggling to adjust. I was alive again, back in the physical world. For a moment, I didn't know where I was. Everything felt foreign and disorienting. Then I heard a voice, familiar and full of concern. "Monica, are you okay? Can you hear me?" It was my soon-to-be husband. I saw him there, right beside me. "I'm here," I whispered. "I'm okay. We thought we lost you. You were gone for so long." Tears filled my eyes. Though only a short time had passed in the physical world, I had journeyed far beyond it, feeling the deep love of the universe and the undeniable truth of the eternal. "You didn't lose me," I said. "I've seen what happens when we pass over. We are never lost. We are always loved." His confusion was evident. He didn't fully understand, and I didn't feel the need to explain. My experience had transformed me, and I knew that, in time, he would understand too. The love between us was still strong, but now I carried a deeper understanding. Love transcends time and space, and it was the most powerful force in the universe.